Good morning, Miss Millie.
Daddy, Jabbit, come here. Yeah.
Make way, Miss Miller. Doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle. Come and do. That's a good idea. Like just a simple,
smaller, yeah.
not nasty, and when they don't need as much water.
No, they don't.
Good girl, Mel. This is good. We're getting a little like eating practice every day. I feel like if I just have you there, I can just go on walks. What are you doing?
I'm making a mix for piggies.
You making mix for the piggies?
Uh-huh.
All right, hold on 1 second. Where did this come from? From right here?
Yeah.
Well, that's the rabbit food, so piggies shouldn't have rabbit food. Well, because it's not good for them. So let's do, if you want to make a mix for them, let's go like this. We'll put that back. Okay. You give them 2 scoops of that guy, okay? The pig master wants to give his piggies some special feed. He sees us each day mixing the camel feed, all the different parts, and my oldest son making the chicken feed, all the different parts, and he wants to give the piggies a special feed.
Alfalfa, would they eat that?
Nah, not, I mean they would, but that's good. That's plenty for them. No more, okay?
Sit up.
Okay. I'll show you what we're doing right now as our camel milking regimen. The first thing we're doing is we're giving the camel a warm, soapy water wipe down of her bag. Next we do an iodine dip. Wipe off the iodine. Dang it. I'm noticing Millie's got some inflammation on one of her teats this morning. Our routine with the camel cleaning of the teats and everything, it's a little different than with cows because there's such a limited time frame on camels with the letdown and the milking. We don't have the same time to do the exact protocol that we do on our cows. We're trying to work it out. We've been talking with some different camel mentors about what to do for the pre-milking and post-milking. I haven't got a really good straight answer yet, and I'm worried that one teat's showing some inflammation. I'm gonna get the calf on and see what happens with our milking this morning. Yeah.
You moved over?
Sure.
What'd you say?
Sure. So I can see the one teat is a lot larger than the other ones. It doesn't have the same shape that the other ones have, and when you go to milk it, it feels harder. So she's got some inflammation going on here. We're using this mastitis udder massage salve. It's really good for chapped teats. It's worked in the past for these kind of issues. We've never had these issues with the cows. I'm not sure why I'm seeing it with Millie. I don't know if it's something, I don't know why this happened. Treat it, We'll massage this salve on every single day. Could this be like Solomon chomping down on her too hard or something? Tell it right away, it looks different. You come and it doesn't look like the other teats, that bottle shape that's supposedly bad. So what do we do? Do we leave baby on? Do we leave baby off? What do we do? All right. All right. That looks pretty good to me, buddy.
No, it isn't.
Well, mommy's got to get the cow, so let me.
I just got a couple more dirty spots.
Got a perfectionist here.
Here's all.
Come on, buddy.
Here's all for me.
There you go. One. You may have noticed the beautiful new halter on Millie there. We got Millie and Solomon both a new halter. All right, Mill, over here. We got Millie and Solomon both brand new halters. These beautiful rope halters are from Ray's Rope Halters. I'll have a link below to Ray's Rope Halters. Beautiful. She does just gorgeous work. And we thought Millie and Solomon deserved a nice new halter. Look pretty. Yeah, you look so nice, Mel, in your pink and blue. Beautiful colors.
Solomon's green and black.
Solomon's got a nice green and black halter. All right, we're gonna come through with Millie here, bud. Coming through, coming through. So obviously it is frustrating dealing with issues like this, especially when we've never had issues with the cows ever, with inflammation, even the chapped teats. You know, Luna had a cut on a teat, but that was caused by a calf. The chapped teats, the inflammation, I feel personally like it definitely weighs on me because I feel like it's something I'm doing wrong. We consulted a couple different people who are on Camel dairies to ask them like, hey, we're dealing with this inflammation, these chapped teats, any advice? And the first thing they always say is hygiene. So hygiene, well, that's twofold. That's their living quarters, and then there's like your pre and post milking routine. In the beginning, my pre and post milking routine was very minimal. The milking happens so fast, you don't really have time to do all the steps you do with the cow. But after being told to really watch that, I worked it in. I figured out how we could get an iodine dip and how we could get a wash in, and I thought that would help, but here we have some inflammation, and I've been doing that routine. And as far as hygiene goes in their stall area, we clean this thing daily. The only thing I could think that would improve, you know, that, I mean, they go in at night and they're in at night, and maybe if they had room to get out on more pasture full time, maybe that could help. But they're on nice. Camels like sand, and this gravel pad is a very sandy gravel, so that should be good for them. It's one of those frustrating things. And it's on top of the already kind of big question that we have, which is, should we even be milking Millie in the first place right now? This is a question that keeps growing on our minds. We've been working with a camel vet. You saw her in one of our videos, Margie Bale, who is a camel vet. She specializes in just camels. And after consulting with Margie for a little bit, the question kind of arose, should we be milking Millie at all right now?
Go up to the field, take those green little things up.
Camels and cows, cow camels and bovine cows, how's that? Still confusing, are very different animals. You want to not look like a little tiny human being? Step forward. Look like a little troll. Like from the movie Trolls, not like a folklore Trolls. Quite different, those two
Under
things.
the bridge trolls?
Yeah.
The musical trolls?
Speaking
not
of quite
under
different
the bridge
things,
trolls?
camels and cows, very different animals. Cows have for, you know, just, you know, years and years and as far back as history goes, have been domesticated for dairy production. Camels have not. Camels are still like a wild animal that allows you to milk it.
Well, I don't know. It's a crazy thing because they've been domesticated for how long?
Camels?
Yeah, like longer than cows.
We were just told in one of our things about how the reason camels, Margie and that vet talk was just talking about how camels are not, they're not dairy, they've not been bred for dairy, they've
been bred to survive.
Yeah, they're survivalist animals. They can thrive off of very little when they get to be a camel. Camels, much earlier.
Come on, you two. Knock it off. Rip up that udder.
She's yelling at cows. Making sure they go easy on Luna so we don't have another cut teat. All these teat issues. Cut teats and chapped teats and inflamed teats. Camels, being an animal that thrives with little, is a survivalist animal. It does not do well being milked and going through a pregnancy. So if your camel is pregnant, usually what we've heard from real, you know, camel dairy operations is that they wean them right away. And the key is that you need to have multiple cow camels so you can keep getting your cow milk. We only have one cow camel, and the camel milk is very precious to us right now. But it's not so precious to us that we would risk losing a pregnancy, which is possible. A camel can decide, you know what, I can't give to this baby with what's going on right now, and it can abort the pregnancy just like that. A camel can selectively abort a pregnancy if it's one of the traits of being this survivalist animal. So we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that Millie's pregnancy, if she is pregnant, we've been saying this since day one, if she is pregnant, because we have not had it confirmed yet. If Millie is pregnant, we want to make sure that pregnancy goes full term and we have a healthy camel baby. So how do we find out whether or not she is actually pregnant? It's very easy. All you have to do is just ask them, are you pregnant? And then listen to the camel as it talks to your heart and tells you the answer. Oh, I wish it were so. Are you pregnant, Mel? You know. I don't know. It's hard to get a camel sonogram. Is that what they call them for camels? What do you call them? Ultrasound. It's hard to get a camel ultrasound because again, camels are like, nobody around here knows about camels. It's possible if you have a specialist, but we don't. So then you got to go to the next best thing, which is a blood test. And when we bought her, we did have a blood test done, and her levels were just barely at the point of, yes, she's probably pregnant. But it was also very early in the pregnancy, which is, you know, a time where it could easily go either direction. So that puts us in where our Margie, our vet specialist, who we've been consulting with, said we want to test again. That requires us doing a blood test. And we've never done a blood test on a camel. We were hoping to have a vet. Margie encouraged us, get your vet out here to do the blood test, and they can teach you how to do a blood test on a camel. Well, want to join me?
Edit that.
Well,
It's hard to find a vet around here who wants to see a camel for some reason.
we have a friend who says she has horses, and when she heard we had camels, she's like, you gotta call my vet. He'll be thrilled to work with camels. I called him up and he was like, no, I don't come out that far. Here, I'll refer you to somebody else. Okay, so that was one strike.
So we called our vet who did the cows, the goats, take our dogs to.
Been out here a couple different times.
And apparently it's a month and a half wait list for a farm call, and they will not call me back. I said, okay, fine. You know, camel gestation's 13 months. I can wait a month and a half.
We
as
got
long
time.
As we
I
get
can
it.
wait.
They haven't called me back. I don't know what's going on. I
What?
don't know if it's what Margie said, which was sometimes they just don't want to mess with it. It's like a totally new thing.
I'm not gonna go and insult our vet and say that this is the case. It just seems like it's the case. But Margie did say a lot of times vets don't want to show up and not know what they're doing, which makes sense. If you're a professional, you don't want to show up and be like, well, I don't know.
Right.
And she says, so they'll just avoid working with camels because they don't know what they're doing. To be fair, how many people get the opportunity to be like a camel vet?
In Pennsylvania.
In
yeah.
Western Pennsylvania. So it's a tough place. So now we're trying to figure out, is she pregnant? If we're gonna get her blood taken again.
Where we got her from, he's known camels a long time and assured us that she was pregnant. But camels are very resilient, so they can frequently absorb pregnancy.
Yeah, I talked about that. They're able to shed the pregnancy when they want to. So we believe she was pregnant when she got here. But if she's still pregnant or not, we're not sure. And so should we still be milking her or not? That's the tough part.
Another thing we've been advised is this week we'll keep salt off of her because the salt could be causing the inflammation, excess salt. So we'll give that a try.
I gave her salt yesterday.
Did you scarf it up?
She might have. I gave her, we ran out of salt a couple days ago. I wonder if she went and gorged herself on salt.
So maybe that's causing the inflammation. You know better, you do better. This is what our camel mentors keep telling us.
And we don't know very much.
No.
This is not a camel expert channel. That's what Camel Connection is for. So that's where we're at. Do we dry Millie off? Camel milk is precious right now. If she has shed the pregnancy and has no reason to be dried off, we don't want to dry her off. We have no bull camel anywhere nearby to breed her to. We'd have to figure that out. That would take time. And if she's shed the pregnancy, she can still be milked just fine. But if she is still pregnant, we're getting far along and we should wean her. So I think we're gonna have to just try
Take blood?
to do a camel blood test on our own.
Woo.
And I want to tell you why this, maybe some of you are like, hey, you guys have taken blood on all your animals. What's the big deal? Man up and do it. This is what's holding me back. Ready? Come
Not
stand
walking
next to
in
me.
that
No, no. Ready? No, you can join me. I don't mind if you're here. Perfect. When way back, when we were first like trying to figure out if we were actually gonna do camels or not, I called somebody who had camels for sale and I talked with him for a while. And he was very, very helpful. And like the first thing he started talking about, he was like, oh, so you wanna get camels. Camels never forgive and they never forget. If you have to give a camel a shot, make sure it doesn't see you. Because it sees you giving it a shot, it'll never forget that. and it will bide its time, and it will wait for the opportune moment, and then it will kill you. I may have taken a little bit of artistic liberty with that, but just a little. He was like, really like, one of the things you got to know is don't be the one to give them shots, and don't let them see you when they're in pain getting the shot. And so I'm like, oh, if I have to do this needle, and like then Millie looks and sees me and she holds it against me forever. And
Camels are a different animal. For those of you who have livestock, like cows or horses,
you have
and
to be
are
on
like,
your tippy toes.
yes, I do.
That.
They're like, you know, it's a livestock. Treat them like livestock.
What did Russell say last
They're
night?
a different kind of thing.
Oh, our camel mentor we were watching a talk last night. They were doing a live talk, and he said, when I first,
Oh yeah.
he says,
He's like,
this is thick Australian accent. When I first saw my first camels, I thought, oh, they're just another dumb animal.
like a horse or a cow.
And then he
25 years
quickly
later,
retracted that.
yeah,
They feel that
They're different.
camels are
very different.
like one of the smartest animals out there. Smart as your 8-year-old human child.
All right, I gotta get the milk in.
All right. Well, so I don't know. This is the things we're mulling over. Some of you in the audience actually have camel experience. For those of you with camel experience,
Yes, let
and
us
only
know.
camel dairy experience, give us your thoughts on what you would do in this instance.
Yes, and we are talking with professionals who have
Yeah.
been doing this for many, many years.
We have Margie, our camel vet consultant. You're wondering like, why don't you have her out to take blood? Because she's from Australia. She is a specialist in camels. We are doing video Skype chats, talks with her. She's guiding us, but she can't take blood. So what we might have to do is actually have her on a Skype call.
So, I mean, honestly, right now I've got
Oh, look at that.
people we're working with in Michigan about
Yep.
this. I've got people we're working with in South Africa about this.
Yeah.
Australia. So hopefully,
Just nobody in Western Pennsylvania.
go figure.
There's a real, if one of you are looking to get into camel veterinary practice, there's a pocket. Look at that. I want to talk to you in a second about new animals and beginner learning curve and frustration, but first it's time to do the Homesteady Camel Train shout out. Today's shout out brings a smile to my face. It's our good friend Karen. She's a huge friend of the channel. She's been on the show before. You'll see her in the comments, Karen L. She will comment in this video. She said she just wanted to support us on our homesteading journey. She's a Canadian, big fan of the show. Right now, the way that Karen's being homesteady is that she is buying eggs and meat from local farmers and producers. That's a great way to be homesteady. Part of what we talk about a lot is not trying to be self-sufficient completely, being more self-sufficient, but then relying on your local community to fill in the gaps, because that's what homesteaders have always done, way back to the 1800s when the Homesteading Act happened. And if you can't, what you can't produce, support others locally who can, and you'll be in much better shape. In times like these where it's hard to find meat, your local producers will still have it and you'll still be able to get it. She does have a balcony garden, and of course Karen has a huge passion for livestock. In addition to loving working with livestock, she likes rangelands and pastures, and she works in the field of consulting people how to handle grass-fed animals and pastures and that sort of thing. And she's in a bit of a flux right now. She's had some change of her job and that sort of thing. But you can check her out at thebovinepracticum.com. I'll have a link below. You can say hi to Karen. You can say hi to her in the comments section because she will be down there. She comments on a lot of our videos. And if you have beef or cows or really any animals and you want some advice on your pasture, your management, what you should do, if you want your animal scored, body condition scored, whatever it is, contact Karen. She can help you via the power of the internet, and you're going to see more of Karen in the upcoming, I'll just say that, in upcoming shows you'll see more of Karen, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, Karen, for being part of Homesteady for so long. If you're a Homesteady Pioneer, go and watch, click that link to become a Homesteady Pioneer. You can watch the entire interview I did with Karen, uncut. It was an awesome interview all about cows and working with cows as a beginner. If you're not a pioneer, you can still see half of that interview here on YouTube. If you search Karen, Homesteady, maybe I'll link to it. I'll have the video pop up. But yeah, thank you, Karen, for being a part of this. And now let's talk a little bit, before I end this video, on kind of a frustrated note. I want to just talk about this experience, because it's a very real experience for people. When you get into a new livestock, there is no doubt going to be a honeymoon period. Unless you bought an animal that's at death's door, and you may have done that. If you went to an auction, you could have done that. You went to somebody's house and you didn't know the first thing about it, you could have done that. But chances are you didn't do that. So unless you buy an animal at death's door, chances are when you get it home to your homestead, the first month or two is going to go great. It's going to seem like everything's good and everything's working right. And you're going to be so thrilled, you're going to be on a high because you finally got the animal you've been waiting for so long. And then a couple months in, you're going to start to come up against problems. And this might be a couple weeks, it might be a year, but eventually you're going to get into some issues. And part of what makes you a really good homesteader, a really good animal husband, a really good livestock farmer, whatever you want to call yourself, what makes you good is facing these problems, learning about different solutions, consulting others for help, making mistakes, learning by them, getting better. John Siskovich says it best. He said this recently on our show. The reason he is the chicken expert is because he has killed more chickens by accident than you will ever try to kill on purpose on a butcher day. The point John is making is the only way you can really become an expert is to make all the mistakes and learn all the ways to avoid them in the future. And then you really, it sticks with you, and then you become the guy people go to get some answers. I'm frustrated right now with this camel situation. The honeymoon is over. We've got a couple different problems we're facing. Doesn't mean I'm going to give up. It doesn't mean that tomorrow I'm going to be in a bad mood because of this. It's part of this process. I know this because I've been through it. Kay's been through it. Almost a decade of homesteading. You go through this with almost every animal you have. Everything's going great. You love it. Look at rabbits for us right now. Everything was going great. We had tons of meat. It was all perfect. And then, boom, we had murderous bunnies. And then, boom, we had some disease. It's part of just this whole process. When you have livestock, you have dead stock, you have sick stock, you have injured stock, you have stupid stock, you have escaped out of a fence stock. You get all these issues and you learn to deal with them and you learn to adjust and to work with it and fix it. I'm frustrated today, but don't worry. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to consult to people who know better. I'm going to figure out what I am actually doing wrong, and I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to get better. And in a few more years, I won't make these mistakes anymore, or I'll make them a lot less. And if I keep at this for 10 years, then I might be a camel expert. I've heard that there's no such thing as a camel expert in the United States because there's just not enough camels and not enough knowledge. But maybe I'll move somewhere where there's a lot more camels and I could become a camel expert for real. Probably not, but who knows. My point is, don't let the frustration get you down. This might happen to you. It's happening to me. I'll be better tomorrow. It'll be a better place. And some days are just down ones. And like you've seen, 100 days, 100 videos in the camel train. If every single video for 100 days was, this is all perfect, you should do this, it's amazing, that would be just stupid. That's not how life is. It's only fair to show you the great days and when we love this and we're like, you should do this, and then also be honest with you and show you some days you're like, what?